sort of advice, and they've said that Sarve bhavantu sukhina, Sarve santu niramaya, Sarve bhadrani pashyanti, ma kaschit dukh bhag bhavet. Now the whole purpose of humankind is to not only exist but to live. And how do they live? Sarve bhavantu sukhina. They have to live happily. Sarve santu niramaya, have to live a healthy life. Till the time they live, it has to be a healthy life. And therefore, everything which is there so that a human being or human society can live has to be such that it provides the environment for a healthy life and a happy life. And that's all. I mean, if we do these parameters, and then we know that how we have to develop something. At this time, I would also like to say that while we create things, we have to ensure that it sustains, and that can only be done by mastering the art of observation. There's a difference between seeing and observing. And anybody, I mean, what's the difference between an ordinary soldier and, say, a person like Field Marshal Manekshaw? He observed and he found that these are the things where he has to train everybody. And what he did was that after 1962, where we were defeated by the Chinese, 1971 is just 9 years. In 9 years, in around 5th, we entered Pakistan, and 16, the war was over. So 11 days, a new country was created, and 93,000 prisoners were taken. In the annals of modern war history, there is nothing like it. That in a short period of 11, 12 days, India was able to create a new country, liberate a new country, and have 93,000 prisoners. So, but for that, the architecture was planned by Manekshaw. So you require some person with vision. I have dealt with a number of people. Manekshaw was certainly my role model, but I've dealt with others who I've seen who have been pioneers. In my early life, I saw my father, who was a scientist and brought in the concept of zoonoses, which means diseases which have intermediate host. And he was one of the pioneers for the Green Revolution. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan was a person who brought in Green Revolution. Charles Correa, later in my service, I worked and I learned from him, and when I was chairman of Dairy Corporation, he was my inspiration. Charles Verghese Kurian. Now, and in recent times, Dr. Sridharan, the person who made Delhi Metro or Konkan Railways before that. So India has been blessed with people with ability to foresee what they create, how will it affect, and what will be the outcome, will it last, will it be able to survive the different challenges. And I would say that the whole aim of human race is not only to progress in one dimension. Progress cannot be a single dimension achievement. Progress has to be multidimensional. So we see a 3D environment, and then we say, how are we making, is it making it good in this three-dimensional environment, or it is a single-dimensional dimension progress. Now, The bottom line is that everything what is done has to be sustainable. Urbanization is going to be India's largest venture. In fact, if you see a project which is India's largest project for the last, say, 3, 4, 5 years or maybe more, no, actually it is from, say, early 2000, 21st century. That's the National Highways project. There was a time when we were putting in every day new 3-kilometer length of class 7 roads. Now it is over 10 kilometers of new 3 new class 7 roads. Linking up one end of India to another, linking up the rural India to urban India. So that's the scale at which this civil construction is going on. The next stage of big investment is going to be for urbanization of India. There's already government, and very rightly, is talking about 100 new cities. Then you put in the idea of smart cities. And smart in what? In a way, nothing would be smart if it is not sustainable. So if you put the cover of smartness into anything that is constructed, it has to be sustainable. And thereby, one would say that what India will now have to do is to prepare for not just 21st century, but going beyond into a new millennium, 1,000 years of urban India. And that is what is going to enable India to ultimately achieve a society which is Sarve Sukhi and Sarve Niramay. When we talk of smart city, what would be what would it mean? So I tried to sort of encapsulate the term smart city. What it has got the fancy of intelligentsia, business entities and technology companies, often without realizing what is needed to create a smart city. The term smart city can mean different things to different people, depending on the location, economic status, and social fabric. As far as India is concerned, I would like to define smart city as a city with assured availability at all times of basic infrastructure and utilities to give reasonably good quality of life even to the lower income groups. The term smart is generally attached to IT-based solution. We think that if it is connected with IT, then it's smart. IT-based solution for infrastructure and system management. And that is where the IT should be for system management. But it is more than that. It should be to include of appropriate technology for the basic infrastructure, like waste management. Now, India, and we have a habit, it's a very unique society. There's no other country like India. We cook food all the time. 3 times a day, we eat cooked food. We are the biggest consumer of edible oil. In fact, Malaysian economy thrives because of India, because we buy the largest quantity of palm oil from any other country, from any country, and that is from Malaysia. Now, if we cook so much, we have to have waste created. We create the largest amount of organic waste in the world. Can waste, and somebody has said that actually the waste is not something which you have to bury and throw or burn, but waste is a resource. Can waste be turned into a resource? Can urban living be such that with the waste that we create, becomes a resource, and thereby it is not a waste. So it is recycled. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. What is destroyed by Maheshwar is then restored by Brahma and used again. So that is what the society, our 21st century society, should be doing. And it is within our hands. Smart infrastructure, new or upgraded on existing one, is needed with appropriate technology that works under local environment and an affordable cost. Reliable water supply of good quality use proven technology and hardware. Reliable and environmentally sustainable power supply of good quality economic mix of solar and other renewables. We are the first branch of civilization which had realized the importance of sun. And sun is intrinsic in our culture. We do Surya Namaskar in the morning, and all our effort has been to please sun. At that time, perhaps we were not aware that actually even the hydrocarbons which we use, and we are the world's very large consumer of hydrocarbons, are energy source because of sun. Because of sun, the chlorophyll is able to attract the energy, and then maybe millions of years of the plant having been buried inside the sun, inside the earth, it turns into petroleum. And so ultimately it is the energy which comes out of sun. But India or Indian civilization has understood we are the largest receiver of solar energy in the world. Per capita's, population, we are the largest. Perhaps the only other country which receives as much sun is Brazil. But Brazil's population is 5 times or 6 times less than India. And yet, we have not been using solar energy. This is, I went to this international conference, COP21, where the Prime Minister made an announcement that India in 6 years, 2000 up to 2022, actually, 6 years, would be producing 100 gigawatts, that is 100,000 megawatts of power from solar energy. At that time, we were just about 6,000 megawatts with solar energy. So increasing our capacity to by over 93,000 megawatts. It's a scale which is different. Once we do that, once we come to 100 gigawatts of solar energy, then we can say that yes, Surya ko humne namaskar kiya. Because, and that capability is there. So our smart cities must be able to use the maximum solar energy. It is not necessary that, and I have always been a proponent of, that it is not necessary that a solution has to be this or that. It has to be this and that. And so, energy from any source, but it has to harmonize with each other, and we cannot do without thermal, but we have to maximize our utilization of solar. We have to maximize our utilization of wind, and perhaps even the normal, even from the organic waste. I don't know how many of you have seen what this Sulabh person, Vidyeshwari Pathak, and I had the occasion of seeing it when he started in 1980s or 70s actually. 1980, I visited Patna, and from the Patna airport to the Raj Bhavan, the entire stretch was lit by organic waste, human organic waste. In 1980, and I saw it. And this is possible. So on one hand, 10,000 rickshawalas could go to toilets. On the other hand, a good road was getting lit by human waste. So all these things together would make things sustainable and also useful. Cleanliness, sanitation, waste collection systems, and waste treatment with appropriate technology. Efficient, environmentally sustainable, modern urban mobility and public transport. Greater use of electric power. I don't know how many of us in India know that Bhutan, a country which has very difficult terrain, very difficult sort of atmosphere. And yet, Bhutan actually has become a country which is fully green. It can trade, other countries can borrow from Bhutan and then sort of meet their requirement. Because of one thing, all Bhutan vehicles, not one thing, there are many things, but one of the things is that Bhutan has put an emphasis of electric cars, on electric cars. There are countries like Norway, which has made a policy that by such and such year, all vehicles in Norway will be run by electricity. Now in India, we are going in for maybe hybrid cars, but the amount of possibilities which is there, especially in the urban areas, like Delhi, of use of electric car is enormous. Sometimes I feel that just to demonstrate, one should, some enthusiastic people should start a competition of saying that, all right, please bring all your cars, including if somebody has a Ferrari. And we start off from, say, Taj Palace Hotel or Welcome ITC Hotel in Sardar Patel Road and go to, say,